Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. This is one of our newer content created for agents to help them grow their business. So if those of you that are familiar with us or aren't familiar with us at the Turco team, our primary objective outside of helping clients directly kind of go through the financing process of buying, selling, or refinancing, our primary focus is to help agents get better at what they do, right? So you'll recognize over time that a lot of our newsletters, a lot of our webinars and in-class trainings are not about mortgages. They're not about rates. They're about actual tactics that we believe will help an agent generate more opportunities, have more conversations. And we believe through that, we help you grow, it'll trickle down, right? And everybody will win, right? So today's class is about setting up a newsletter system, which is something that we do. It's not going to work today. All right, we'll leave the mouse. There we go. All right, so kick it off with who we are. For those that are unfamiliar, we're the Turco team at Cross Country Mortgage. We're a husband and wife team. Myself and Yasmin are the lead loan officers. And we actually have over 200 five-star Google reviews that are actual testimonials from clients. So myself and my wife are the lead consultants. And then helping us support the whole flow of things is Candy, who's on this call today. She's in charge of communications and disclosures and lead follow-up. So the whole aspect of what we do is when you identify an opportunity and kind of trust us with that hard work that you did, that it doesn't fall through the cracks. So Candy helps us maintain follow-up, getting people engaged with consultations, getting us documents, and getting pre-approved and back to you shopping. Other person on our team is Christina. She's our loan processor, and she really takes over once a client is under contract and gets us to the closing table and hits all the dates that we need to hit. So why you're really here? So to learn about a newsletter system that we actually do ourselves, and it's a way to stay top of mind without always chasing clients, okay? And one of the main ways to do that is through financial literacy. So we'll help agents build repeat business through financial literacy and consistent communication. So today what we're gonna go over is while some agents lose referrals, why a lot of newsletters that people send out fail, end up in your junk, or you never look at them. Okay. We'll also talk about the 4 content buckets that really resonate with clients in the real estate field. Because if you think about it, if you have a new lead that you're trying to nurture, sending them content related to their search, communities, schools, activities that are going on in an area, home valuations in an area, those all matter while they're in the process of searching and buying. Once they buy, that content's irrelevant. They've already bought it. So how can you stay top of mind without them ignoring you because what's going on in the market doesn't matter to them anymore, especially after they buy. So then we'll also discuss how do you create content, right? We don't want to be sitting there for hours in a day writing content every single week or month to send out a newsletter. So I'll show you guys how to leverage AI, how to make it generate very quickly as well. So first, what we want to understand is kind of like, what is the underlying problem? So as a lender, as a real estate agent, as anyone in sales, it's typically not a lack of skill that creates people being forgotten. It tends to be a lack of visibility, right? So clients forget people that stay silent, right? There is no value in being a secret agent, right? We don't work for the CIA, right? We need people to know what we do, how we can help them, and it needs to remain consistent because you will be forgotten if you stay silent. So if our clients aren't hearing from us, they're 100% going to hear from someone else or see someone else's content or receive someone else's content. So we want to avoid running into this issue by creating an electronic content system that can be automated. So what I mean by automation is I've been writing newsletters for a little over 2 years, right? So if I meet a new real estate agent and I add them to my newsletter database, yes, I want them to get the stuff that I'm writing today, but what about the good stuff that I wrote 2 years ago? Like, how do we get them that? So there's a way to create automation where every time you enter a new client, lead, investor into your newsletter system, that they get the very first newsletter you ever wrote, and then it automatically sends them one on a schedule every single month without you having to do anything other than write a new one for your what I call OGs, and just getting people into the system. So why most newsletters fail? The first reason is that it's generic marketing spam. Our email addresses, our phone numbers are public. I can't tell you how many emails I get a day that are just generic, like just marketing, like, hey, new product, new this, new that. Like there's no value to me wanting to read it. So they're not creating the interest in us, clicking and reading and taking the next action. Okay. Other reasons newsletters fail is they're too long. People's attention span is becoming shorter and shorter and shorter, especially with social media short clips. And the fact that like daily life just has such a demand and pull on us, especially if you add some kids into your life or some elderly parents, like forget about reading a long form email or any type of content that's long. So the other reason newsletters fail is that there's no positioning statement. There's no positioning as to, hey, you should read this. It's going to give you value. Here's the value. And here's the action you should take. So there's no true like flow to the content. And then the overall reason why a lot of newsletters fail is because there's no value. I got a newsletter from a real estate agent a couple weeks ago, and it was like just one of the most generic things written by AI, talking about how they serve people, why, like what they do. I read it for my own knowledge, but I wouldn't read it if I wasn't into this type of thing to try to get better. So the key goal with newsletters, what we've discovered over the years and what we've learned through years of coaching and other salespeople that are high producers, is we need to stop marketing and we need to focus on educating. If you have content that provides knowledge, more people will flock to it and read it and consume it. Okay. So the way we want to create content is by building out with AI. And I wrote a prompt for real estate agents that we will see in a live demo. And what it's designed to do is really teach AI how to be your assistant. So when I was a kid, and I'm in my 40s now, so it was a while ago. When I was a kid, I remember watching movies that were like Disney movies. And there would always be this one scene that was intriguing to me. And it was always the scene where there's some executive wearing a suit or someone wearing a suit driving in a limousine or a town car, with an assistant that has a notepad. And they're basically dictating everything that they need done or need written for them to this assistant, who then does the job and makes the executive's life easier. AI has opened up that opportunity for all of us, right? So AI, you should truly look at like a human being that's your personal assistant. If you dictate what you want them to do for you and dictate it with more exactness and accuracy and definitiveness, it will be your personal assistant and do everything for you. So here's the prompt. So I'll read it out to you guys. I'm a local real estate agent. I need your expertise in marketing and writing content to craft me a newsletter tailored for my clients. So, right, so we're telling it what to do on the first line. The second thing is we're telling them who our clients are. So my clients include leads needing nurturing, active home shoppers, past purchasers, investors, and all of the aforementioned family, friends, and coworker networks. I will provide the content. Your job is to write the newsletter in my voice, avoid plagiarism at all cost, and include the following results. We want a subject line that creates urgency to open and review, an opening hook that's a short paragraph, a body to the newsletter that is the main explanation and value, and then we always want a call to action. And then we ask AI, can you execute this as the world's premier marketing and content writing expert? So we're telling it how to behave, what we want it to do, who is our target audience, and kind of the flow of subject line that catches interest, quick short hook that keeps people reading more, and then the body of the value. Okay. If you guys ping me directly, I will send you this prompt, copy and paste, make it very easy for you guys. Can also send out a PDF of this presentation later. This is being recorded, so we'll end up on YouTube at some point when I have time to edit the beginning and the end of me and Candy talking. So nobody needs to hear that. All right, so now we get into the 4 content buckets. Okay, so we've prompted AI by telling it what we want it to do, why we want to do it, who our audience is, and how to kind of design the flow. So the next thing we need to teach AI is to focus on the content for us, to make sure that we don't go off track. So the 4 content buckets that I've identified that work the best, and we'll continue our prompt with this, is wealth building through real estate, credit and debt management and borrowing power, tax advantages, financial literacy and financial efficiency, and then smart financing strategies. So these are topics that are like just broad, that are designed to be educational and provide value to a larger pool of your database, right? So if you dissect your database into leads that need nurturing, clients that need to be pre-approved, people that are actively shopping, people that have already bought in, people that have had life events, and then your investors and your builders and your contractors, right? All of this kind of feeds education for that entire pool, right? How to build wealth through real estate. You're going to capture a lot of audience. How to manage credit and debt. The tax advantages of owning and buying property. And then financing strategies that are outside of the box for people that don't know what's possible. Okay, so next we're going to hop into a live demo for you guys. So let me just hop out of this presentation. So I'm going to take our first prompt. And I'm going to show you how we teach AI to do this. So you can do this with ChatGPT, Claude, anything. I personally like Claude myself and have transitioned recently because it will literally make the content for you. It will create the PDF, like you don't have to do anything else. So we'll show you how that works. So I'm going to copy and paste the first prompt, and we're going to see how it reacts when it reads this. So Claude is very intuitive. It'll start to ask me some questions because I'm telling it to learn about me as well. All right, so now it's telling me that, yes, I understand what I needed to do. Go ahead and drop the content whenever you're ready. Okay, so it thinks that we're done. We're not, right? So it's telling me that I'm ready. It's going to do a subject line, opening hook, body, call to action, and everything to be written in my voice, no recycled template language. We want to avoid plagiarism, right? Because a lot of the content is going to come from you finding other people's content. All right, so step 2 is we want to teach it what we're looking for. So these are the 4 content buckets that I want you to focus on. And it likes to think. because it's intuitive. All right. So it's asking me right now, which pillar do I want my first newsletter to be around? Do I want it to be with wealth building, credit and borrowing power, tax, or smart financing, or something else? So I'm going to skip this at the moment because we're going to actually give it an article. So while this thinks, we're going to go to, can't spell. All right. So I'm just going to pick something randomly. Okay. So someone wrote an article that says, can you still flip houses in 2026? Now, what you want to do, like the only thing that you have to do is consume some content, right? So if you're an industry professional staying up to date with what's going on, you'll come across these things. So I'll use different financial literacy websites, and sometimes I'll combine multiple articles into one. But for this example, we're just going to take this one. Okay. I don't know what it's about. All right, let's see what Claude is doing here for us while we're waiting. All right, so I'm just going to stop it right there. All right, so I'm always going to tell it again, avoid plagiarism. This is an article I found of someone else. I pasted the article. And then you want to get specific with it. So remove any reference to any company or person that is not me. So if we go back to this quick article, it's talking about, can someone still flip houses in 26? And they asked somebody that's done it 60 plus times this year, right? So this would be very relevant to send to your investor database or people that have, hopes of building real estate portfolios. They bought their first multi, they bought their second multi. All right, so it's telling me creating the original plagiarism-free wealth building newsletter draft from the article's ideas. So it's going to help us get into this. Now, here's like one thing that I intentionally avoid. is I intentionally avoid using things that relate to a year, um, a time of year, and just kind of like a moment in history, right? So those of you that receive my newsletter, you'll notice that it never really talks about a current date or not, because my focus is on making the content relevant to helping agents, businesses, and clients in their life, um, without it aging, right? So if somebody gets one of my newsletters that I wrote 2 years ago, we don't want it to reference 2024. We don't want it to reference, right, an election or anything like that. So that way, when the automation, um, of people that you enter into your database are getting newsletters you wrote months ago, years ago, it remains relevant because the content is relevant and has nothing to do with date, timing, season, or anything like that. So keep that in mind. Okay. So it built the first newsletter, right? So it did subject line, higher rates didn't kill flipping, sloppy numbers did. Gives you a preview text, gives you an opening hook. Everyone has an opinion on flipping right now. And then it gives you the body of the email. Okay. So you can go a little further with Claude. Okay. I work for Keller Williams. Create the entire newsletter for me in PDF using brand colors. So a couple things you can do at this point. You have the content to just copy and paste into your CRM. I use MailChimp, so that you already have a template built. So then you can just copy the subject line, copy in the hook, copy in the body, and the call to actions is offering a spreadsheet. So just make sure you read that because that's what the newsletter, what the article online offered was, hey, reach out to us and we'll send you a spreadsheet that helps. Make sure that you have something to offer. It's like that. Usually the call to action is like, hey, let me know if you enjoyed this content. Reply if you're have someone else that you can share with this. Book an appointment with me. Let me know your thoughts. Something that needs them to do something after reading it. Okay. So ChatGPT, just from experience, tends to be a little faster than Claude, but Claude can do way more, which is why it takes a little bit longer to go through its process. And as we go through this, feel free to drop questions in the chat. Candy will be monitoring, and we'll have a little Q&A session at the end and go back over anything that you want there. I'll also end up showing you all what my recent newsletter looks like to a client, what the call to action looks like, um, and basically share with you how it generates opportunities every single month that it goes out. Let's see if it gets this right. I did this live in a lunch and learn in front of like 25 agents, and it did everything perfectly. So let's see if it does that again today.
Leo, while you're waiting for that to load, there's a
Yep,
question.
sure.
Are these newsletters printable?
Are they printable? Yes. So I mean, if you generate it in a PDF format, 100% printable. Client receives it via email through your CRM or through a system like MailChimp, like I do. They can print to PDF. Um, if you've ever opened up one of my newsletters, let me see if I can show you while we wait here. I always have a box in there um, that says, hey, download the PDF version of this, right? So I include it in the attachment of the newsletters that I send out. All right, Claude, better get it right. It's being very diligent. Anyone else have questions they want to throw out there while we wait for this AI to do their job? And as I say that, here comes the PDF. All right. So here's the add-on that Claude does, is that it will literally make the whole thing for you. So here's so it has the Keller Williams red. It has the is flipping still worth it in 2026, right? The subject line to catch you. And then we have the hook. Everybody has a different opinion. And then we have the body of the value. And then the call to action, book an appointment, right? So then if you want to get a little bit more granular, right, you can, hey, update this with my logo. And then you can upload your logo. You can tell it, hey, my name is Leo Turco. Ask me the questions needed. So let's go like this. Questions needed to make this from me. Talk to it like it's a human. So you can prompt it to like just fill in the blanks for you. Oh, where'd the newsletter go? So pretty nicely designed newsletter. Pretty easy. So I would tell it, hey, get rid of the issue number, the month. So like I would get more specific with it after it drafts. So now it's asking me, good call. All right, what's your full name, your title, license number if you want to display it, and then all of the stuff, upload your logo, and then it'll update this document to do everything for you. Okay. So that is the portion of this presentation on how to leverage AI to create the content for you, either fully or to just give you it how it did earlier in the format that we asked for. Do you guys have any questions on this before I show you guys how I use MailChimp for automation and things of that nature? Candy, anything in there? All right. So back to the presentation. Okay. So now that we have understood the 4 content buckets, now that we've understood how to leverage AI to kind of help us write this content, the time that it takes me to do this on a weekly basis, 10 to 15 minutes, right? So it's because like throughout the course of a week, I am at times like reading articles on what's going on financially, what's going on with wealth, what's going on with you know, debt management, how we have trillions of dollars in credit card consumer debt, so things of that nature. And when I find something that I like, I just kind of like bookmark it. The other thing that I do is that I look for industry professionals that are doing better than I am. So I have connections with other lenders that are in other parts of the country that are doing significantly more business than me and my wife are. And the success leaves clues, right? It's an old kind of quote, right? So in order to grow your business, why not just copy someone that's doing it, right? So I sign up for other lenders' newsletters. I sign up for other real estate agents' newsletters because it is a place for me to get content. So if I have my mailbox closed. Okay. Um, but I have a section in my Outlook mail that's other people's newsletters that I sign up for, that I've set up a rule that it just kind of goes in there. So every week I'm getting 5 or 6 other mortgage officers' newsletters. I'm seeing what they're writing, what they're talking about, taking pieces I like, pieces I don't like, and helping me uncover the content that might be relatable to how I want to present to the audience, which is educational. Okay. So once we have that, now we need to build the automation of the system. So I personally use MailChimp, very low cost. I want to say I spend about 60 something dollars per month to send out thousands of newsletters a month. And we build business. So how does this build business for you guys? Sending one email per month is better than sending 0 perfect emails. So what we want to do is build our system once, deliver value, and improve it over time. If you guys trace my very first newsletter to how I'm writing them today, over 2 years later, completely different. Design's a little different, style's a little different. You just kind of get better at it as you go. So the way we improve over time, the way we build value, the way we deliver is by using automation. Okay. So these are steps to take in MailChimp. And I can also send these out to you, but this is like word for word what to do. So the first thing to do is to set up a MailChimp account. Okay. Using your business email. The second thing that you do is create a main audience for your database. You want to prepare your database, and you really just need, very simply, an Excel spreadsheet that has first name, last name, email, phone number if you want, not really necessary for a newsletter, but there is a texting system that if you want to expand on, get into the habit of capturing your database's phone number, and then client type, um, you know, buyer, homeowner, investor, builder, right? Just to kind of help the system kind of create tags for you. Okay. And then all you want to do is upload your content, your contacts, import your spreadsheet into MailChimp, and then add tags for organization. So some suggested tags are leads, past clients, active buyers, sellers, referral partners, investors, pre-approved buyers, and your sphere of influence. And then always check for duplicate contacts, missing emails, and incorrect tags, but you'll do that on your Excel spreadsheet first. And then the primary step is to start simple. Your goal isn't to be perfect at the beginning. Your goal is just to have a clean database and a system that you can go into and take care of things every single month. So I have these steps kind of spelled out for you guys to follow. And the reason why I'm not demonstrating it is because my MailChimp system's already built. So I've gone through it and kind of broken down the steps that you get to. Okay. So once you have your MailChimp account set up, once you have your database upload, the next thing that you want to do is create a template. The reason why you want to create a template is because you won't have to do the design every single time you write your newsletter. It'll just basically say, would you like to start from scratch or choose a template? And if you have one saved, it'll be a consistent delivery after you've created it. Okay. So you would, the steps that you go through is click on create email, choose a clean template. So a lot of these systems, your own CRMs, things like MailChimp, they have already pre-built templates, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You really just have to change the logos and information that are in there. Okay. What you want to do is have a one-column design. The reason behind having one column design is that a lot of people read emails on their phone and the scrolling is better. And what I mean by columns is that your article has part of it on the left and then it continues on the right instead of it flowing from top to bottom. You want it to flow in one column from top to bottom because people read emails on their phones. Okay. Add your branding, insert your logo, your headshot, contact information, social links, and keep branding professional and minimal. And then you want to make sure that what you're building is for mobile first. Most of your clients are going to read their emails on their phone. They're not going to sit in front of a laptop like you and I do on a regular basis with, main Outlook opened or something like that. They're checking their Gmail on their phone. They're not going to the website. Okay. So be sure to use short paragraphs, larger text. Make sure that you have adequate spacing in between things that are relevant paragraphs, lines, and keep the formatting simple. Before sending it, MailChimp has an option that says preview mobile version. So you can see what it looks like when somebody puts it on their phone. Okay. You want to keep the content easy to scan. So your structure is always going to be strong subject line, short hook, main topic, and a clear takeaway with a soft call to action. And then use simple formatting, bold for important points, white space between sections, one image maximum if it's relevant, and then try to avoid large blocks of text, multiple fonts and colors, and over-designed layouts. Try to stay away from too many emojis. The more emojis you put in, the more people are going to be like, well, this is AI written. We want to disguise it, even though it's how we're doing it. And then what you want to do is you want to save it as your master template. So once you've completed your first email design, save it as a template. Save it as a template, duplicate it every single month, and all you do is replace the content. You replace the subject line, replace the hook, replace it, and then send out your new email. Okay. Now, let me show you guys what mine looks like. So I have two very distinct newsletters, okay? Because my audience primarily educate real estate agents, offer value, offer knowledge, help them grow their business. And then my is going to be clients that are referred to me, clients that have purchased, people that have refied, people, investors that have bought. So if I go into my email, I have two. One is a template for clients. The other is a template for real estate agents. Okay. Now you'll see that I'm on week 118, so a little over 2 years. So my next client newsletter is scheduled to go out July 19th. I must have one for June that I've already written. All right, so this one's going out June 21st on Sunday.
Leo, excuse me, can you explain where you can put that in your email? Because I had no idea.
Say that one more time, Elizabeth.
Can you please explain where we can have the template in your email or in our email?
I'm not sure if I understand. So how to make the template?
No, where you can have it, where you can put it in your email platform.
Where you can put it in.
In your email, where you can keep those.
Like the old ones that I've written?
No,
No.
no. You have that in your email. Where you have those.
So where do I have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the actual website MailChimp. Okay. So MailChimp is a email system and texting system that's pretty low cost, where that you can send out newsletters, you can send out, like if you own a business, you can send out sale blasts, things like that. So this is just MailChimp.com is the site. And the steps that I kind of walked you guys through over here have done because I've been doing this for 2 years. Okay. So Elizabeth, I'm more than happy to help anyone on this call one-on-one. We just need to schedule the time. I'll walk you through how to set it up. I'll assist you guys on it. We can do it in person. We can do it through screen share, so that you're not left alone. I don't just create this stuff and say go. I create this stuff and say leverage me. Like, let me help deliver value. Let's build a relationship through delivering value. I'm not the guy that's going to call you every Monday asking you if you have a client for me. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Not my style. All right. All right. So let's go back in here to the recent client newsletter that I wrote. So my client newsletters, I do monthly. My agent newsletters, I do weekly. So it's all about how you think about like how often do you want to be in front of your audience? For what we do for a living, right? Maintaining relationships and delivering value consistently for real estate agents is like one of the priorities, which is why I weekly. On our client, we don't want to end up in their junk, right? So sending a weekly newsletter to a client is a little excessive, in my opinion. Once per month, I think that's phenomenal. They get one once per month. They're going to get other stuff from you. They're going to see your social media posts throughout that month. Maybe you're doing mailers, maybe you're doing events, but through email, once a month, in my personal opinion, is more than enough for clients. Maybe you want to develop a newsletter for your investors that goes out weekly, because those are people that transact more often than an end user home buyer, right? You guys get a home buyer in your pipeline, they might transact once every 3 years, right? You get an investor in your database, they might transact 10 times a year, right? So staying relevant and in front of them on a weekly basis would likely be more valuable than sending it once a month. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So we are, where did we go? Oh, because I paused it, it's up at the top. So you'll see here that this one is going out on Sunday. So what I sent to the clients is a free tool that every homeowner should be using. So that is my subject hook. There's a free tool. I'm a homeowner or want to be a homeowner that I should be using. All right, let me keep reading. All right, so one of the most valuable resources we've provided homeowners over the years is something called Home IQ. The interesting part, most people have utilized its power. Think of it as a financial dashboard for one of the largest assets most families will ever own. That is your hook, your opening paragraph. Why should I keep reading? So we have our subject line talking about the free tool. We have our hook, and then we have the main body of the email. So what can you do with Home IQ? Find out estimated value, equity, look at trends, opportunities to eliminate PMI, renovation, financing possibilities, debt consolidation. So all of the reasons why you should be accessing this system, okay? And then you can see how there's spacing in between. The best part, it's completely free. Like, we want to make it easy for people to like scan through and digest the content, right? If I had this all in one bulky paragraph, less people would read it, okay? So then we get down to the call to action. Do you want your free Home IQ report? Just click. And all a client has to do is enter in their address, and they're going to get a very specialized report on the specific home that they own, or they can even do it for the home that they're looking to buy. It'll give them a valuation, current market, how interest rates are doing, and help them understand, can they refinance? Can they have access to equity? Can they consolidate debt? What can they do with what they've built? Okay. And then I have another call to action at the bottom. PS, take my free refi quiz to see if refinancing or consolidating debt to keep more of your hard-earned money is that. So the direct call to action that I have is for them to access a free home report. The second call to action that I add in there on all my newsletter is having people fill out a very simple refi quiz. And the system that I use for this is called Typeform, and it takes 2 minutes. And it just asks, what's your current mortgage balance? I owe $500,000. How much is my house worth? $800,000. What's my current mortgage rate? 5.75. How do you rate your credit score? Excellent. And do you have any unwanted debts you'd like to pay off? Sure. And then ask for your name, email, and a phone number. So what this does, this is called Typeform, is it's like a quick way to capture a client's information or leads information. Right. So then the last call to action I always book in there is book a discovery call, right? Just book a time. Let's just talk. And always ask for business. If you have family, friends, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or refi, send them our way. So you'll see from the design, I have logo, a header. We have our subject line, our opening hook, our body of value, and then our call to actions, right? We want people to engage with us. If someone gets a home report from me, I'm going to get alerted that they signed up for it. It's going to give me a reason to call them, reason to touch base, catch up, what's going on. They fill out the refi quiz, gives them a reason to call. And if they book an appointment with me, gives us a reason to talk. And then I always have a footer that has links to social sites, webpage, YouTube, and then the ability to unsubscribe. Okay, so that is to show you guys kind of what I do with the client newsletters. Let me just make sure I turn that back on so it goes out on Sunday. All right. Let's hop back in here. So now, how does this turn into consistent business? Okay. Consistent value creates consistent business. Okay. So if we consistently deliver value, people will refer professionals they remember. They will refer you to their family, their friends, and coworkers if they remember you exist. So the simple act of them seeing an email from you every single month, even if they don't read it, your name is flashing in front of their eyes. So it's a way to remind them you exist. Okay. So other way creates consistent business is from repeat clients. Many homeowners move, they refinance, they invest, they upgrade over time. So staying visible increases the chances that they return to you instead of starting with someone new. I can't tell you how many times I have repeat buyers come through our database that are recommended a different agent than the first one that they used. And it's because they forget that person existed. Okay. Also, consistent value creates consistent business through trust. When you educate people and simplify financial decisions, clients start to view you as their trusted advisor instead of just another salesperson. That is when they open up the most important thing that they have to offer you outside of buying a home. It's their inner circle. Excuse me. Their inner circle, their family, friends, coworkers. So when you think about, what agents are instructed to do, hey, go to your sphere of influence, call your contacts that you know, your family, friends, and coworkers. The challenge there becomes, how do you remind them of what you do without annoying them? This newsletter kind of fixes that. But what we really want to do is we want to tap into every single client's sphere of influence. And we do that when we build trust, when we educate them, when they see you as valuable. They're going to be like, they're going to be at a barbecue on the 4th of July talking to their nephew who just turned 23 and graduated college, got their first job, and they're going to be real estate's always a conversation at every family gathering, whether you're an agent or not. People talk about real estate and what's going on with rates. So if they remember you exist, they'll recommend you and refer you. The other thing it does is it creates familiarity, right? People naturally gravitate towards professionals that they feel familiar with. Even a monthly simple communication strengthens recognition and comfort over time. Okay. And then the last thing it does is it positions you as a person of authority. Financial literacy content, it makes you appear knowledgeable, active, and valuable. So the agent who teaches clearly is often perceived as the expert before the conversation ever begins. Okay. So action plan for you guys. You'd want to Google search articles that are related to the 4 content buckets. You'd want to pick your first topic, consume the info, copy and paste the portions that you like into the AI after you've given it the newsletter prompts, and then build your first email template in your CRM or a system like MailChimp. Write your first email and schedule it to be sent. That's it. What's easy to do is also easy not to do, right? So these are just the steps, right? Find the content, pick a topic, copy and paste what you like, build your first email and template, write it, and then schedule it to go out. So if you consistently educate people financially, they stop viewing you as just another agent. They start viewing you as their advisor. And that's when real business starts to repeat itself and people's circles open up to you. So I want to remind you guys, thank you. But outside of educating, we also make a living by helping people get mortgages. So if you guys feel you've gotten value, we'd be honored to continue our relationship, getting to know each other. We'll always take great care of your clients. We have over 200 5-star Google reviews, and we are a few minutes before the 10:30 promised time of this ending. So I'll open it up to any questions that people may have.
Leo,
Just feel free to speak up.
Leo,
Yes.
Leo, I have a question. How do we know for sure that we're not plagiarizing? Even I still don't trust things. AI. Just how do we know?
So you know by reading the content that it creates, right? So you know where you got the information, number one, right? Number two, after it kind of dissects and creates it, you read through it, right? And you'll know the number one, the topic's the same. So you're talking about the same thing. You're talking about the same type of aspects that are within the other person's article, but it's in your voice because we're prompting AI to learn you. We're prompting it to, no, you can be specific and be like, hey, I want a very educational tone, or I want a very soft tone, or I want to sound like Matthew McConaughey. Like it'll write it in however you ask it to, right? So once you deliver it your voice and it learns you, it can't be plagiarized. It's the same info, it's the same content, right? Everybody writes about the same things. I read a book that was put out last year that has the same concepts of a book that was written in the 30s, right? It's just from someone else's voice.
Okay.
Which is why the prompt for AI says to avoid plagiarism, because we don't
Right.
want it to be verbatim.
But if
want it to be in your
if
voice.
we take an article and upload it and say avoid the plagiar like any note of other companies or other people other than ourselves, it's kind
No.
of using material without footnotes. You know what I mean? It's just like it just seemed maybe I'm overthinking it.
I think you're overthinking it because and that's I don't mean that in any disrespectful way, Lisa. Like
No?
we tend to do this as salespeople, right? It's that strive for perfection, perfection and protection, right? From any legality aspects. You take you take an article from the Wall Street Journal. Yes, it's copyright protected, but the content subject is not.
Okay.
Okay. So you just need to make sure that it's not written, like it's not using the same exact wording and language that you copied and pasted, which is why a lot of times grabbing pieces from multiple articles on the same subject tends to work better. The demonstration that I gave you is because of our timing. So I just copied and pasted an entire article. I don't even know what it's about. I just pulled it up in front of you guys, right? But what I would normally do is pull up 2, 3, 4 that are on the same topic and, spend 10 minutes like skimming through it, copy and pasting the pieces that I like, and that will 100% avoid it because it's something someone hasn't written. No.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised, like there's professionals, there's real estate agents in your like that do exactly what you do that have these systems built, right? So another way would be to find those that are not in your market, right? So agents that are in Chicago, Los Angeles, Tampa, that are doing more business than you, right? That have something set up like this, sign up for their newsletter. They're not going to care that you copied it. You're in totally different markets and they're never going to know. But you're also going to ask AI to put it in your voice.
Okay. Thanks.
Leo, we have another question from Will. Any strategies to recapture recipients who unsubscribe?
So what I do typically is I used to call, because number one, they're in your database for a reason, right? They're not randomly thrown in there because you found email, name, and phone number. It's typically someone you're connected to, referred by, referred to, like there's a reason why you have this person's information. So if they unsubscribed, that's fine. They just might not find the content relevant, but someone that unsubscribes from something they've never received before doesn't really change anything, right? So a strategy could be to just simply call them and just be like, hey, I just started developing content that I find to be educational and valuable. I saw that you got your first issue and you unsubscribed. Do you mind sharing with me, for my own personal knowledge, what made you click that button? Like, were you annoyed? Did you not find the content relevant? I'm always looking to learn. People are always willing to give their opinions. So that would be a strategy that I would try, is that you just call. But I'll have agents and clients unsubscribe from the newsletter, but that doesn't mean that they won't get other things from me, right? They'll get things that are automated in my CRM, like birthday notices, home anniversaries. They'll still get that stuff because this is a separate newsletter system, which is why I choose to use MailChimp over my CRM, because if they unsubscribe from this, all they've done is unsubscribe from my newsletter. They haven't actually unsubscribed from everything within my CRM. Does that help, Will?
He said makes sense. So,
All right.
And Lynette asked if this was recorded. I told her it was. I'm not sure how she can get a copy of that.
So it is recorded. So probably in the next week or two, I'll find time to edit it, where I'll end up cutting out the front and the back of it, and then uploading it to YouTube. I'll send you guys out an email, those that attended, so that it'll just be on my YouTube channel so that you guys can repeat it. I can gladly send you out a PDF version of this presentation so you have the prompts to just easily copy and paste.
Perfect. Great. Thank you.
Hey, Lynette, you want to ask something?
No, I was just saying thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Any other questions? No. All right.
Actually,
10:32.
Leo,
Go ahead, Lisa.
when I asked if it was printable, I meant like, could we print it out and mail it versus email it?
Totally. There's no reason not. Like
Yeah.
you
Okay.
saw that,
It sounds like a stupid question, but I wanted to find
it's
it
not.
anyway.
So, oh, I just saw that I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Hold on.
Oh, it's okay. I just like if we're saving it as a PDF, then we can print it
Yep.
and send it out as a
So
mailer.
this quick one that, like, I
Yeah.
would go in and update, all the information that's on here that's missing, like my name and
Yeah.
all these things, right? Once I have this final version, it allows me to download it as a PDF,
Okay.
right? So then you can print it, you can post it to a website, you can post it to a blog.
Oh,
Because
okay.
here's one of the main things that's happening now is that consumer behavior is changing. So people aren't Googling real estate agent near me anymore. They're having conversations with AI. They're saying, hey, I live in Lynn, Mass, looking to buy my first home. We kind of want to stay on the North Shore. I make like 100,000 a year. I have good credit. Um, who's the best real estate agent you would recommend? Right. So the behavior of searching is changing. And AI is going to recommend based on a few things. Number one, visibility online. And number two, any type of reviews that exist. So you want to make sure that we have strong reviews on platforms like Zillow, Realtor.com, your own Google business page. We want to have reviews and testimonials because that's what it's going to feed from to recommend you. The other thing it's going to do is going to see what kind of content you have, right? So if you have these newsletters posted as blogs, posted on your Google page, your own personal website, it's going to return you as a related result of a search on AI more often than others.
Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right. So my phone number is public. You guys got my email. You have my contact information. Reach out if we haven't spoken in a while. And thank you for attending today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Have a great day.